Peter Parker is the ultimate Spider-Man. Welcome to the Comicstorian Complete Story Series, where we take trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then we read them dramatically back to you. All alterations to the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Ultimate Spider-Man is the story of Peter Parker from the Maker's Ultimate Universe, gaining his powers, learning to use them, and teaming up with the Green Goblin? Yep. Harry Osborn, the Green Goblin, and Peter Parker's Spider-Man have teamed up and are learning this whole superhero thing together. This is Ultimate Spider-Man issue number 6. I hope you enjoy. Peter walks out of the kitchen and draws looks of shock from his family as they see his face swollen and bruised. "What happened to your face?" May asks in shock. But Peter waves off their concern as he takes a seat at the table. You know how clumsy I can be sometimes," he says with a smile, wincing at the expression. As MJ goes to get ice, Ben asks his father what happened. "I was working late at the Bugle, and the old Parker luck reared its ugly head," Peter says as MJ presses an ice bag onto his bruises. But May can't hold it in any longer. She is quaking with secret knowledge. Oh, daggone it being a superhero!" She starts to shout before clapping her hands over her mouth. MJ and Ben look in shock as May begins to cry, apologizing to her father for letting their secret slip. "Peter, what is May talking about?" MJ asks. Peter sighs and finally tells his family the truth, starting with how he got his powers and explaining what happened the night before. Last night, Peter sat on the roof with Harry, watching as Fisk gets out of his car and heads into his luxury apartment building. Harry nods his head and glances at his partner. "We'll give the guards time to do their final checks and take up their posts. Then we go in. Are you ready?" Harry asks. Peter shrugs. "I guess," he answers. Harry looks to him, worried that his new friend is going to back out on their attack on Fisk. But Peter explains that he just feels awkward breaking into a home. I've never broken a law before. Any law. Like, ever," Peter says as he glances at Harry, mildly embarrassed. Harry shrugs. "It's a necessary evil, Peter," he says. Peter's head snaps up and he looks at Harry quickly. "Don't use my name in costume. Why wear a mask if you're gonna do that? Use a code name or something," Peter says, explaining that the news outlets have been calling Harry the Green Goblin. Harry shakes his head. "They don't get to choose my code name. I should," he says. Peter agrees. "Okay, so what's your code name?" he asks. Harry pauses for a moment and thinks about it. I kinda like Green Goblin," he finally admits. Suddenly, the lights go dark in Fisk's windows, and the two heroes leap into action. Harry flies forward on his glider, while Peter shoots a web and swings across the gap. They crash through the skylight and land lightly on the floor. "Oh, great. Well, that's destruction of property," Peter sighs. But both heroes are shocked to find Fisk waiting for them by the bar. "Ah, company. I'm so surprised. Can't you see how surprised I am?" Fisk asks with a smile as he pours himself a drink. He glances at them, explaining that he owns all the buildings surrounding his apartment, and security cameras have been watching the heroes for some time. "I was wondering when you were going to invite yourselves in," he says. Harry stalks forward, preparing for a fight and demanding to know who the secret group behind everything is. "And how'd you learn something like that?" Fisk asks as he sips his drink. "Your assassin told me," Harry snaps. Fisk nods and reaches into his pocket, pulling out a remote. "Well, he wasn't really my guy. I guess the lesson here is, if you want something done right, do it yourself," he says as he taps a button. Bars suddenly slam down around the room, sealing the two heroes in with Fisk. Peter's spider sense begins to go crazy, and he shouts for his friend to move. But Fisk is fast for a man his size, and he picks up the bar and throws it at Harry, slamming him into the bars. Peter shoots webs into Fisk's eyes to blind him before leaping at him and hitting him hard. "What is wrong with you? Without his armor, that would have killed him!" he shouts. But Fisk grabs him by the throat and throws him across the room. "That's the idea!" he growls. But an energy blast from Harry gets Fisk's attention. "Playing for keeps is risky, Mr. Fisk. There's still time for you to reconsider," Harry shouts as he tosses a bomb that explodes when it hits Fisk and shreds his suit. When the smoke clears, Fisk stands unharmed. His bare chest is covered in strange tattoos. "Normally that would have hurt, but I've recently had some work done," he growls, charging forward and slamming into Harry, bringing him down with several blows and cracking his armor. Fisk stands over him, prepared to make the killing blow. "You're all alone. It's over," Fisk gloats, raising his fist. But Peter is there, grabbing a hold of him. "Alone? I'm wearing a bright red and blue suit. How do you forget I'm in the room? It kind of hurts my feelings," Peter jokes. But Fisk grabs him and slams him into the floor, his massive fists raining down on Peter again and again. "Little help?" Peter groans between blows. Harry's glider flies through the air, bombing the wall and throwing Fisk clear. As the smoke clears, Harry grabs a hold of Peter and they stagger through the hole in the wall, jumping on the glider and flying away. Peter sags in Harry's arm, but the goblin holds him steady. "Hold on, we're getting out of here," Harry gasps. In the present, Peter finishes his story. "And that is the story of how your dad got his butt kicked," he tells his family. Everyone sits in silence for a moment before Ben speaks up. "Hold on, isn't that illegal, Dad?" he asks. Peter nods and points to his son. "Yes, exactly. That's what I've been saying," he says in exasperation. But Peter does explain that Fisk is a bad man who does bad things. May looks at him with worry, asking her father if he has to fight him again. "Well, we can't just let him do bad things to good people," Peter tells his daughter. They all stand, with Peter telling his kids that they need to keep all of this a secret. MJ finally ushers them off to bed and explains that the parents need to talk. Left alone, the pair stands awkwardly in silence for a moment. "So, I'm afraid to ask, but how mad are you?" Peter finally asks. But MJ shakes her head, explaining that she isn't mad, just confused why he didn't tell her. Though, she admits that she is proud of him. He glances at her, catching her staring. "You want to see the suit, don't you?" he asks with a smile. "Oh yes, I most certainly do," she replies. He transforms before her eyes, appearing in his costume. "What do you think?" he asks. She walks around him, giving him an appraisal once over, her eyes lingering. "Oh, I think this definitely works," she says with a smile. Though she admits that he does need a codename. "Yeah, I was thinking about that, but I have no idea," Peter says. MJ looks at him in surprise and points to the spider symbol on his chest. "Isn't it obvious? You're Spider-Man," she tells him. And there you have it. The Parker family knows that Peter is a superhero. Fisk has had some sort of upgrade to make him even more of a threat than he already was. But more importantly, this Peter has finally been given the name Spider-Man. If you enjoyed this video, let us know down below, and subscribe to the channel to get notifications on future videos and when the next part of Ultimate Spider-Man is put out on the channel. We'll see you next time. Rest in peace, Benny.